So there I was. I made like 3 sales, and the next week I made 5 sales. The next week I made 12 or whatever. But like, it was just all hustle. I'm just like going into internet marketing groups. I'm like DMing, being like trying to be friends with people, invite them to come to my webinar. I mean, I'm exhausted, but like, I don't know how to dance on social media. Nobody wants to see that. I'm not limiting myself. Who knows? Maybe we'll have it one day. But like, I'm telling you, I didn't know how to do social media. And I told you, like, my resources had depleted. So like, I actually didn't really have money for ads anymore because I was too scaredy pants to launch. And I like SEO took way too long. So I was like, crap, I like need to figure out how to get sales, like actually. And so I had heard about this concept of joint ventures where somebody with a product convinces somebody with an audience to let you pitch your product to that audience, and then you just do a profit share on the back end. And the idea is really simple and it's extremely sexy. And the implementation of it, if you don't know what you're doing, is entirely overwhelming. And I remember being like, why in the world would anybody let me, who's made 20 sales, right? Let me, lowly old me, come and pitch to their huge audience that they've spent time and money to go into, you know? It honestly, again, like talk about divinity, the first like joint venture happened by accident. I met somebody on a podcast. She like listened to one of my podcasts. She said, hey, you're cool. Would you come give a masterclass in my Facebook group? I just said, yeah, sure. So I didn't even like pitch. I just like shared the secrets, you know? And from there, like 13 people joined my program. And so she kind of heard, and there was only like 50, 60, because it was like a coaching group. And so there were only 50 or 60 people there. And she heard how many people joined without a pitch. And she was like, okay, you need to come back and do it. But this time pitch and let's profit share this. And I was like, yes, awesome. She's like, I want a cut of this, you know? And so again, talk about perfectionism. I was so afraid I was going to fail. Guess what my profit split was? It hurts to tell this story. You guys, we've come a long way. But guess how much I gave away on the back end? 90%. 90. I literally was like, if I biff it, then like she can't be mad at me. Gosh, Kathryn, we have since renegotiated. I will say I've done a joint venture in a group every year since we started. But it was this beautiful thing where all of a sudden I did it and we pitched. I got 30 people into my group, which I didn't get paid basically for any of it. But also I was like, this works, and I was able to really understand the process of what it looked like and why. And I would just went back and why did you say yes? Why did you think this would work? And she was the one that kind of got me into this whole concept of like, well, I kind of like started with the first step and you're kind of like the natural next step. And all of a sudden I was like, ding, like if you can find people who come either before you or after you in like the customer storyline, right? Like you help if a business is like, again, talk about like a little OCD brain, but like if a business is like broken up into steps, and you happen to be step 4, right? Like, can you find people who are step 3 or step 2? So for me, I was helping people build funnels that convert, design funnels that convert. So who are people that worked really well with? Like, who's the step that came before me? Is anybody that did traffic. If you have traffic, you got to send it to somewhere, and you need that somewhere to be a funnel that not only looks good, but converts. Great. So I started partnering with a bunch of traffic people, and that was the conversation. You're step 1. I'm step 2. I think between what we could do together, we could really help your people next step. Awesome. And they're happy about it because they don't know what step 2 is, or they don't care to teach it. And I don't care to teach that. So we're not competitors. We're entirely complementary. And so that 90% giveaway ended up really paying for itself because of that nugget she gave me. Well, I don't know. And it was just off the cuff, you know, I'm the first step, you're the next. I was like, ah. So all of a sudden I just like started throwing darts at the wall, like trying to figure out like, okay, well, how do I get people to listen to me? So, because all I have to do, it's a very simple process, right? When it's all boiled down, it's get their attention, show them the storyline. It's nuts. That's it. Get their attention, show them the storyline. And so I got smarter and smarter and smarter about how to do that. And so, like, how did I get to that 7 figures? It was all joint ventures. That was my traffic source, was joint ventures. And it was awesome because we would just start scheduling anywhere from a joint venture a week to a few joint ventures a week. And people really sleep on these small groups. I'm telling you, they'll be like, well, I'm not going to a Facebook group that only has 120 people. Well, let me tell you this. If somebody has a Facebook group of 120 people, those 120 people are diehards because you're not in a group if you don't mean it when there's 120. I would have like the highest conversion rates in these small groups because they would do whatever that our leader said because they believed in them so much, you know? So sometimes I'd be pitching to a group of like 50,000 people. And sometimes literally like later that afternoon, I would do the same pitch to a group of 150 people. And we just like churned. And we were able, and it was so great too for like the health of the program too, because you wouldn't just get like one sale, like kind of trickle in, like even every day, right? You'd get like droves of people, and people that know each other. So like they're like, oh, I'm from the Doug group, oh, I'm from the Spencer group, oh, I'm from the Lauren group, like who else here is this is awesome, let's go together. And then you just get smart too about how you pitch. There's like differences between how you do a normal webinar versus a JV webinar, and how do we maximize the fact that these people are tribe, and how can you get them to sell themselves, and tiered bonuses and all these different things. It was like such a fun game to learn. And it was beautiful because it was risk-free. You only pay after, and so that really is how it started, was that key nugget of like, I come before you, you come after me, we're actually a great pair. And I was like, that was it. And so since then, again, my brain has frameworked it out and created the steps and tested and tried and true. We actually had, before I was pregnant and into it, I wanted to make sure, because very similar to design, I was just doing it for myself. People started asking, how in the world are you doing this? And I was like, oh, wow, okay, you're right. I should probably figure this out. But I wanted to make sure it worked. So I literally hosted masterminds at my house, intentionally inviting 8-figure owners down to people who had never made a single dollar. And I would teach them all the same things. And I made them sign up for a series of 3 masterminds. They'd come month 1, month 3, and month 5. So they'd have a month, and then they'd implement. And then a month, they'd come back and implement. And to see where it broke. And the only people that didn't do it were, God bless them, the people that didn't do it. Like, if they followed the steps, they made money with joint ventures. And so it was just this awesome thing. And once I knew that the framework was sound, then it was like, okay, let's go play. And so we did that and started teaching people how to do it. And then, whenever we teach people how to do something, they're like, can you just do it for me? And so we started having clients, and word got around, and blah, blah, blah. One long story short, Dean and Tony had a big launch coming up. They do a launch every year for their mastermind product. And they wanted help with their affiliate and partnership stuff. And they asked if we wanted to do it. And we said, we do know how to do this. Yes, we can help you with that. So it was really great. We just did it for the launch. It was amazing. We learned so much, but it was really fun to see how the frameworks held strong. They work here, they work there. Tony isn't a god, he's a human, and people will promote Tony for the same reason that they'll promote a no name. People are self-interested in heart, and not all at the same time, but the rules don't change because a Tony is a Tony or a nobody is a nobody. What are people after in business? What are they trying to do? And how can we facilitate a relationship that makes it happen? So anyway, so that's been really beautiful too. And so in the meantime, I actually ended up selling CF Design School to Russell Brunson, and I'm actually the face of their funnel program over there, but it really lives and breathes inside of ClickFunnels now, which has been awesome that I didn't have to give away my baby, but I still get to be the face of it. But they're running ads, I get to do all the fun stuff. And then we really get to focus on this partnership stuff over here too. So it's just been a really beautiful, again, talking about divine series of things that have happened over the last few years. And again, divine, once again, it really works out that I married an amazing marketer as well. So we're now business partners too, which is great vibes for me, I will say. So not only is he cute, he knows business, which was kind of just a game over for me. So
that's
anyway,
awesome.
So that's how we got into it too. I was just trying to sell that dang first program, and look where it landed us.
If you're interested in learning more about the tidbits and advice that they have, then you should consider subscribing to the 2 Comma Club newsletter, where you'll get daily updates and advice on the podcast and the things that we are learning from the individuals who have made at least $1 million. Just go to 2ccnewsletter.com or click the link in the description down below and subscribe.